welcome to another episode of Shooting
the Shit with Rachael
and Neal Youngs. We're talking all things real estate photography business growth, mindset, and getting it done. Here come your favorite true entrepreneurs, Rachael and Neal Young, shooting the shit.
I have a ferret on the Like if we're kind of in a slump, like what kind of things do you do?
Talking about a boob light.
Straddling a power line.
Nice photo.
Ooh, I need that.
I'm like red right now because I'm embarrassed. I go like this. I love it.
Hey, come in.
Sure, use your podcast voice.
Over here, I'm pitting out.
Drone's like flipping to the ground.
That's a great callback.
Chit-chatting.
Is that what you call that? Hey!
Rach, who do you love?
HDPhotoHub.
Today's episode is brought to you by HDPhotoHub.
The platform real estate photographers trust.
And so do we, because Rach and I both use it on a daily basis. Check it out.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Check it out. Check it out.
Very excited to be back with our summer series all about Rachael's power team. And today we have Kelci Borges, who is a phenomenon in social media. She's a guru. She helped Rachael get where she is, if that's saying anything. And I think it's saying a lot. So pretty cool that we've got Kelci on today. And we're going to kind of deep dive and chat about how they got started with Kelci and what Kelci does for Rach. And it's going to be a lot and it's going to be great. So we're going to dive right in, right, Rach?
Yes, let's get going. So Kelci's grown so much since I met her. She does way more now than she did when I met her. So we'll get to that. It's exciting and it's amazing. I love watching your journey, Kelci, where you've come, or how far you've come has just been really inspiring. I don't know how you have the energy to do everything that you do, honestly, but it's really cool to watch. So keep it up, y'all. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Kelci is my social media manager. She does 3 posts a week for me on social media, writes all the copyright, sends me an outline of what she's going to post for the month, and I approve it. And it goes out. We have quarterly calls where we plan out our content strategy for that quarter and, what I want to focus on. So she helps me kind of stay focused and have a better idea of what areas of the business we really want to focus on. So if I'm having some kind of like promotion or something, like she's there to be like, okay, what's going on the next 3 months? Like it helps my brain, not only just for social media, but just in general with the business, to kind of have that touch base with someone outside of my business who kind of holds me accountable every quarter. So it's been really helpful with those.
Hello, I'm Kelci. I'm so excited to be here, and I own Sherose. I have, since we started together, early 2021, I think we said, I have pivoted more into a business strategy and community host role. We can chat more about what that means, but I love talking about a holistic approach to business, and marketing plays such a huge part in growing a business. If you don't market your business, then how are people going to know that you even exist? So it has been such a privilege for me to walk alongside Rachael as we both grow and evolve our businesses over the past almost 3 years now. It's crazy. And yeah, it's also very fun to be able to have a bird's eye view from those quarterly meetings that we get to meet, and then get into the nitty gritty on a monthly basis and weekly basis to really strategize and roll up our sleeves for how to actually create exciting content that people actually want to consume.
Exactly. And that's what you do, because the copyright that you guys write is like worth so much to me, because I get a lot of engagement on my posts because of what you guys are writing and because of the ideas that you come up with. And the graphics are always done really professionally. You guys threw in making reels in the last year, which has been nice too. And you guys do the research on the trending audios and all that stuff. So it's just like, it's very easy for me to just be kind of hands off with social media to an extent. Like I take it a step further and do some filling in on the days that you're not posting for me. And then of course I'm doing all my story posts, which is more of a personal touch anyway, right? Like I feel like that needs to be the owner of the business or someone that's actually working in it to kind of show that BTS and, that real
It's
life stuff, right?
totally. Like for stories, we do manage people's stories, but it's honestly so much easier to have you do it because we are then posting content that is days, weeks old at that point. And while the audience on the other side or the receiving side doesn't get that, they don't really necessarily know. I just feel like it's so much better when it's in the moment. And you do like 10x our strategy and what we're doing for you by like posting on the days that we're not posting and really amplifying what we're doing. And you've taken what we do and do it yourself. So that is fabulous and has helped you grow much faster by doing that. So it's great.
Yeah. Totally, totally. So I want to talk about how you got me on board. So I was I was referred to Kelci from a friend, a client of mine. She was like, "Oh, Kelci does social management." I'm like, "Oh, let me call her." So I called you up and we had a little consultation call and it all sounded great until we got to the price. And I was like, okay, for good social media management, you guys, it is not cheap and it is very hard to find a company that can really portray your voice and someone that understands how to write a good hook and how to make it sound like it's you and someone that understands the strategy behind the whole social media game. It's hard to find someone that gets it all. And I had a couple people in the past doing my social media. They weren't trained in that wasn't their job. They were just kind of helping me out and they did a good job, but it didn't really sound like me 100%. So it didn't feel really genuine for my business to have, those people doing it. So I found Kelci, had this call, and she hard sold me big time. Like she called me out. I was like, "Oh, you know what? This sounds perfect, but let's back up a minute." This was I think it was late 2020 when we had our consultation call. And then we started in 2021, like January or something. So it was like in the thick of COVID craze madness. I mean, I was running around like crazy and had bought in that other, client list from another photographer who had moved. So that doubled my business. Then COVID doubled my business. And I had a couple shooters training new people. So I didn't have time to do social media, but I knew the importance of it. And I had already been getting clients from social media. So I just felt overwhelmed. I'm like, I need someone to help me with this and someone that's good. So that's why I reached out to Kelci.
Yeah. There's so much to unpack here. So first of all, yes, like there is a huge difference between like your friend's daughter who knows how to post on social media versus somebody that knows marketing and knows how to promote businesses in an effective way on social media. Those two things are very different and obviously come with a different price tag. So if you want somebody that understands how to like communicate your messaging and position you in a way that garners the trust of your ideal client, then absolutely there's a pretty price tag to go with that. And what Rachael was saying about hard selling, I was like kind of sweating under the table. Like my pits were juicy because I was at that point, I don't think I've ever told you this. At that point in my business, I was deciding whether I was going to like close it all down or whether I was going to like double down and like let's go. So in late 2020, I was harassed on social media by two people that I thought were my close friends. And it was that I was like, I don't think that I want to do this anymore. And I don't know that I have it in me because it was so demoralizing and so horrific. It was horrific. People unfollowed me and it was just terrible. So I was like, I was thinking about getting a real job or corporate job,
a 9 to 5,
if you will. Yes. And I started going through the process and I was like, no, absolutely not. I actually like was in an interview and she was like, I don't know why you're applying for this job. Like you are made to be an entrepreneur. You have like the personality traits and the qualities of somebody that should be leading a company versus somebody that should be working underneath somebody. If it weren't for her, I don't know if I might have just like settled for that. So anyways, I was like gung ho. That's why I had the like oomph to do that, because I was like, I'm doubling down. Like, there's no way I'm going back to working for somebody else. And I'm going to close this lead because I know that she needs my help. And I can see with all of the stuff that you told me, I was like, she's not going to have time to manage her social media and serve all these new clients that she has. She says that she barely even has time to do it. I mean, she doesn't have time to do it right now. So if she wants to grow her business, this is the thing. I'm the person that's going to do it. So I was like, I'm going to ring her in.
And this is something that all of us real estate photographers can use too. Like, sales is a really important part of our business and the way that we're talking to our clients. And a lot of our real estate clients are a little apprehensive to spend, $1,000 on a media package when we all know that it's going to help them get more listings in the future. You've got to invest in your business, right, to get more business. So Kelci, you just pointed out the obvious to me multiple times on this phone call. And you're like, well, what are you going to do? Like, you don't have time to do it, right? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, gosh, she's so right. And I'm like, dang it. And I'm making good money. It's not like I can't afford it. It's just scary when you think about that monthly, expense. And I'm like, oh. And I think you said something about like, think about if you get one new client a month from social media, it's going to pay for itself. You said something to that effect. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's so right. And we can use that as photographers. But like, if you get one lead a month or every 3 months from social or from these photos that I do for you, this marketing package or this agent intro that I have you do, like that could be thousands of dollars. Like, that pays
literally
for itself,
that pays for you time and time again.
Yeah, exactly. And then the referral network, it just like spirals. So you had some really good points, and I was really impressed with how pushy you were. I knew what you were doing. I knew you were selling me, but I was like, everything you were saying was correct. You weren't lying to me. It felt genuine. I could tell that you were a hard worker just from that. I'm like, I know she's going to get this done for me. She's going to do a good job. I like her fieriness. I like her drive and the way that she's pushing me. And, it felt, part of me was like, I felt sold, but on the other part of me, I was like, I trusted you because you did that. Like, it felt good. It felt like, all right, someone needed to freaking push me off the ledge and say, just do it. Just do it, girl.
I think that's the thing that about sales, like, this is a whole different conversation, but we don't get into business or what we're doing to sell. We get into it because we're like excited about what we have to offer and the service or the product that we can provide to other people, businesses, whatever it is. And sales is so important because if you don't have cash flow, how is your business going to continue to operate? So it is totally a skill that like we need to learn. All of us.
Totally. Yeah. And there's a lot of good books out there you can listen to on Audible. I think Grant Cardone has a bunch that are like about sales and 10xing your business. And like I've listened to a few of those. They're really good. But yeah, sales, we wear so many hats as entrepreneurs.
So many.
Some days I'm like, oh my gosh, why so many? Why so many? But you learn, right? And being passionate about what you do is a whole, like, that's most of the sales process is just explaining it in a genuine way. But there are sales tactics that you can use, like you used, that can close the deal, not letting them get off the phone. Be like, keep pushing, keep questioning, keep asking. Yeah. And that helped.
It's the questions.
Kind of like, boop.
Yeah. It's totally the power of your questions. And I think listening wholeheartedly and not like following the script, but listening to listen and hear what's coming up for them and guiding, like you came up with an objection. So guiding you through that and like talking to you about the things that you just told me and about how I could solve that problem. And you're right. Like, it was totally coming from a genuine place because I genuinely wanted to help you because I knew I could.
Yeah.
Remember when you said you have no time? Remember that part?
Yeah. Rewind 5 minutes ago.
Dang it. She's right.
Because remember? I love that. So when you first, I know that Kelci does a whole bunch of stuff and we're going to get into that in a little bit, but I'm curious to know where you were at with what you were doing with your social and what Kelci came on to do, and then how did that go and how did that help your business, Rach?
Yeah. So previously I was doing 3 posts a week. But the gal that originally was helping me ended up telling me I just don't have time to do this. And I was like, okay. So I found someone else. And then she just wasn't consistent with it. I wasn't consistent, like keeping on her. So it just wasn't consistently happening. And that was my biggest issue. And I'm like, I need at least 3 posts a week, 5 preferably. And then I wanted someone to do my newsletter as well, which now Kelci does my newsletter.
We do it all.
Yes. So the biggest thing with her is just that I have consistent 3 posts a week going out. Like I can literally go on vacation from social media, which I really have been doing quite a lot in the last few months because I've been busy. And I know that I have those 3 posts a week going out, which is huge. It still keeps me top of mind, which is, I think, the biggest thing for me is like my clients need to see that I'm still actively working in the industry. I still have past clients like that haven't used me in a couple years, and they come back and they're like, "Oh, are you still doing real estate photography?" I'm like, "You're obviously not on social media." Yes, I am. But the ones that are on social, if they're seeing you and you keep popping up in their newsfeed, when they get a listing, if they only get a listing once every 2 months, if they keep seeing you and they like what they're seeing and you're adding a little bit of value, you're maybe teaching them something in your Tip Tuesday or whatever you're doing, they're going to remember you and they're going to want to hire you on the next time. So, and that's what Kelci has helped me do, is just stay consistent and help to stay top of mind, I think.
Oh, and I'm remembering when I made your strategy, because that's how we kick off working with any new social media management clients, is we get to know your brand and who you are so that we can actually communicate that on social media. You were scared, or you didn't want to post any photos of yourself, remember?
Oh, yeah. Yes, because you're like, she kept going, "We need more pictures of you." I'm like, why? People don't want to see just pictures of me all over my social media. Like, I take pictures of houses. I mean, people too, but
yeah. And so we posted, I remember in the first month, we posted a photo, like a reintroduction. "Hey, I'm Rachael." And that post outperformed all of the other pieces of content that we had posted that month. And I'm like, okay, Rachael, this is gold. This is what we need to be posting because your audience is loving it. And there was a little bit of resistance, but that is what goes into building a personal brand and being the face and the person that people trust. Now you have your team, and now we get to shine a light on them, but people love to be able to see the behind the scenes and who actually creates the beautiful photos of the homes and of the personal branding photography that you do.
Yeah, totally. And I didn't even at that time understand what a lifestyle or a personal brand really meant or what it was. I thought I just have a photography business. I just need to show pictures of houses. Like, that's the most important thing. But you're so right. Like, people connect with people, not with businesses. So they want to see the people behind the work and get to know you. And if they see you, they like you, and they trust you, they're going to hire you to work with them.
Exactly. So, yeah. So all the photographers listening, post photos of yourself.
Yeah. Trade with another photographer, get some lifestyle photos. Yeah. It's awkward at first, but it gets easier.
Yeah. And do those little stories when you're out and something funny happens when you're out at a shoot. Get a little clip, right, and just throw it up on a story. Yeah. So what is it? So if we were on the call with you, it was the first time we're having a call with you. What is it that you actually outlined that you do for the clients for social media, and what is it that you recommend? What's going to help these photography businesses with social media? How are you guiding them?
So on the call, I will get to know what their goals are for the upcoming 6 months, anywhere from 6 months to a year. We start at 6-month contracts because it is a marathon, not a sprint. So we get to know what their goals are and what they would like to accomplish with our support. And so getting to know that allows me to then be like, okay, are we going to be posting 3 times a week like Rachael, or are we going to be posting 5 times a week? And those are our main 2 packages that we offer for people. And then, so we will suggest like, hey, here, based on your goals and based on what you told us, here's what we think that we should do for you. And depending on, we honestly, Rachael is one of the only people that we do email newsletter for, because I knew that she needed it and we have the capability, but it's not something that I like outwardly talk about, mainly because that just adds a whole lot of more wrenches in the fire. And so if it's something that is like a dire need of theirs, that's like outside of the scope of social media, and it falls more into like the big pool of digital marketing, we either will find like a referral partner, or just depending on what it is, we might do it secretly.
So don't ask her to do your newsletter if you're thinking about hiring Sherose.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't know that. I appreciate that. Yeah.
And
I know
do
my
you do
newsletters would go out like every 4 months, every holiday, like major holiday. I'm like, Merry Christmas.
they're still waiting on my newsletter, so I've never announced it, so it's fine. But no.
When I started my business, I don't know, I watched or read something and it said find 3 ways to advertise your business and stick to those 3 things. And mine were social media, networking events, and a newsletter. So since the very beginning, I've been pretty much doing those 3 things. So, but the newsletter, I kind of fell off because it just got to be one of those things. It's like, it's not that important. But honestly, every time I would send out a newsletter, I would get like an influx of clients. It was weird. It works. So
it is, because you're in their email inbox.
Yeah. And another thing too is you own that email list. So for some reason, social media gets shut down. Very unlikely, but just in case, or your account gets hacked, right?
That happens.
Yeah, scary. Then you have that email list to fall back on and to get back in touch with your clients. So,
And then what about
Neal, sorry, I have to interrupt real quick. I have one thing to talk to you about.
Rachel?
Right. No. Okay. Have you had a client call you late at night trying to figure out how to get their video posted onto Instagram? They're like, I can't figure out how to get the video on Instagram. Can you help me? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to download it and email it to yourself, put it in a Dropbox folder or Google Drive. And they're like, I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, pull my hair out. Okay, we have a solution for you. HDPhotoHub came out with an app where your clients will download the app in the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. It's free for them to download, and they can access all of their media from this app and download it straight onto their phone. All the photos, they can place orders online from the app. You're literally in their pocket, and it makes it so easy for them.
And it's white labeled with your info. So it looks really cool that you have your own app. How cool is that? So, and what else is sick about this is because you're listening to Shooting the Shit, if you set up a configuration call with HDPhotoHub and mention Shooting the Shit that you heard about it from us, you're going to get a crazy discount, 33% discount, 1,000 credits for the app, which is a smoking deal.
It's normally 1,500 credits, you guys.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's such a good deal.
Take
Take advantage. Get the app today. And that's a one-time fee and you're done.
You're going to look slick too for all your clients. You got your own white labeled app. Who is this guy?
Right? You have an app? That is absolutely fabulous. No pun intended.
Cheers to that.
Okay, back to the show.
So as far as like performance goes and stuff, I'm sure that's a big piece, right? When somebody's looking at, they want to grow their social media, right? So is there also like a tracking, like do you do some kind of like tracking of their growth and all that kind of stuff? And how's that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we send out analytic reports to our clients to ensure that they're seeing ROI. And it's really interesting because when we get to work with our clients over a long span of time, just like the stock market, right? When you like zoom in, there are steady increases and then sometimes there's dips. And it's the same thing with social media. Some months are great and some months kind of like plateau and teeter off. But when you look at the grand scheme of things and when you're zooming out and you're seeing it from the like a mountain view, you are seeing consistent growth. And so I encourage our clients, like when we're sending monthly updates, to not get beat down because like analytics are down over last month or what have you, because it truly is, like I was saying, a marathon and not a sprint. And so when we zoom out and see it from like a 6-month, year-long perspective, we're able to see that steady growth over time. And I just was telling, I had a sales call earlier, and I was telling her, on average, our clients see 25% increase in follower growth over time, 2000% increase in overall visibility. So the reach of their content, the impressions, people, new eyeballs seeing their content, and then a 520% increase in overall engagement, likes, comments, saves, and shares, story replies. And this is data from all of the clients that we've ever worked with at Sherose. And so we accumulated it and then pulled the average of all of the numbers from their time with us. And so it really is, it works. It just may take time, but we do say that you will see results. People see results after 1 month with us because they're probably not doing either a good job or they're not consistent.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's good to hear, because even the people who are trying to be consistent, it really is a long race, and it's hard because you're like, really, you might be working on it for a month, you might be working on it for 2 months and see no real huge changes, but you got to know that you got to keep chugging along for the consistency, and it will come over time. And it's a good point. And it is hard not to get hard on yourself when you see those drops, even day to day or even post to post, and get hard on yourself. But yeah, it's the long race. I agree totally.
Yeah. And another thing too, it kind of gets redundant, like especially in our industry, because how many times can I post about what we offer with drone photos, or, all the services we offer? So, Kelci and I have worked together and we've come up with some more mindset things and branding and, other stuff that we try to post about that adds a little bit more. But yeah, it's nice to have someone else that can help you kind of brainstorm with new ideas, that you can keep it fresh and keep it new, because it does get a little redundant. That's what I'm feeling with my stories. I'm like kind of just bored with my stories. I haven't really been posting many because I'm like, another picture of me out shooting at a house. I'm like, yay. Like, okay, I need to like get some new ideas here.
Do what I've been loving is filming, or not filming, but like compiling video clips in Reels, saving it, and then sharing it as a story. And that will keep people's interest throughout the entire story because it's changing during that minute and it's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do like a
recorded
day in
in
the
Reels,
life.
so it's like little clips throughout your whole day, and then you don't post it to. Do you post it to Reels too?
I don't. I just save
post
it
that
to
to your
stories.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Okay, learn something new every day.
You're just like using it as a video editor, essentially.
Okay.
Downloading the video and then sharing it to your stories.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And then so it's just one continuous like clipping through. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Keeps people's interest.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll try that. And my garden is popping, and we tried to hire a landscaper. They wanted $975 every 2 weeks to weed my property. It's 1 acre, guys. It's not that much. I mean, it's mature landscaping, but I was like, no.
That is bananas.
Yeah. Another guy was going to charge me $500 every 2 weeks, and I hired him. I'm like, fine, I'll just do it. $62 an hour. I'm like, sure. He did half the property, and I called him. I'm like, hey, are you going to come back and finish? He goes, oh, I ran out of time. I'll do it next time. I'm like, $500 only got half the property. Are you kidding me? I mean,
oh my gosh.
Anyway, so I've been out in the yard a lot, working in the yard, absolutely loving it. Like changing my mindset. Like, this is fun. The kids are going to help me. My husband helps me. It's been great. But we have all these like raspberry vines with raspberries. So I get like a full bucket full of raspberries almost every day. And then we've got a vegetable garden. So I'm like, I need to do more content out there of like what I'm doing in the yard, and like I have all these little plants that I'm growing and gonna give out as gifts, and like, there's cool stuff that I'm doing around my house that could be good content.
Yeah, and it changes up what you normally post. So it will also be like, oh, I didn't know this side of Rachael.
Yeah, you'll see dirty Rachael, because every day that I come in working in the yard, I'm like, look how much dirt is on my face. Like, how is this possible? It's awesome.
Mud bath, it's fine.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Shower required for sure.
Yeah.
So
I'm expecting a basket of raspberries now, just so you know.
oof. I'll give you, maybe I'll send you, I could send you raspberry jam. I'm saving all the
Oh,
raspberries. I'm
I
freezing
love
them.
raspberry jam. That's my
So
jam.
good.
Yeah.
Raspberry jam is
So
my
much
jam.
And I bought a dehydrator, so we're going to dehydrate them. So I could send you a little bag of those.
Oh, that is
Oh, all
fancy.
Yeah,
A
client
little-
gifts,
little
guys.
Fruit leather.
Yeah.
Hello.
So for Christmas, I'm giving out raspberry jam in cute little jars.
And stay tuned,
A spider
everybody.
plant, because my spider plant has like 1 million babies and I keep
Oh my gosh.
growing more. So
Oh my
excited.
gosh.
Fun stuff.
Hilarious.
Anyways,
That's
Cool.
amazing.
I'm like Susie Homemaker over here.
Seriously.
Awesome. Okay, so back to social media. I guess we're kind of talking still about social media.
So now we're done these crazy stories about our raspberries and all this stuff. What are you seeing is the real benefits for everybody's guys a business and they still they don't understand why they should even buy into this. How is it actually, is it helping them? How is it happening? And then if which it is, we know, but I like a sort of explanation. And then like, where do they start from there? What platform should they be on?
Being in direct like communication and connection with your people and the people that need your product and service. So you can, number one, do market research with them by posting to your Instagram stories and utilizing polls and the different features in Instagram stories. So you can use that as like new product development, new offer development, by asking questions to your audience that are nurtured and that are like warm leads for your business to craft offers specifically for them. In addition to that, we've got just nurturing leads for your business, people that you probably never would have crossed paths with before or outside of social media that never would have found your business by using hashtags, by using the location like geotag option, by commenting on other people's social media platforms and pages and getting their followers' eyes on your business when they're scrolling through the comments section. There are just so many ways, like it is a web of opportunity for your business to utilize and be seen by people, interact with people, be social.
Cool.
And to find mentors and find people that
True.
you can work with, that's a huge part of
Yeah.
it too. Like I've met a lot of photographers all over the country and it's like I wouldn't know them if it weren't for social media. So it's also a good way to
Exactly.
make friends.
I wonder how that would have affected us, Rachel.
I don't know, because you met me on a podcast. So
Oh, fine.
maybe not so much. Doesn't apply.
I guess you're right. So what should be the where should they start? Do they need to be on Facebook? Do they need to be on Instagram? Do they need to be on TikTok? Does it matter if they're on all of them or one of them? Where should they start?
There are so many platforms that you could be on. I don't recommend, if you're just starting out, I don't recommend trying to be on all of them because that's really overwhelming and can be a lot of work. Like it is a lot of work to be consistent and maintain a level of consistency that will breed results for your business. And so I would recommend picking one or two platforms to start out on. And if you are able to leverage like AI, for example, to repurpose your content to these other platforms, then that's fabulous. But you have to set up the systems in order to be able to do that. So in a effort to not overcomplicate things, I would say to focus where your audience is. So if you are marketing and if you're trying to reach a somewhat older demographic, then you might want to be on Facebook because they're probably not on Instagram or they don't know how to work it. They might have an account, but they have no idea what they're doing there. And then, so younger generation, I would say anywhere below like 50 years old, they are on Instagram. They are also on Facebook. And so those are kind of two main platforms that I would really recommend you starting out on. And luckily they're owned by the same company, and so you can cross post to both platforms. You can share the content that you're sharing to Instagram to Facebook and vice versa. I would recommend sharing the content to Instagram first and then removing the hashtag, making sure to remove the hashtags and sharing it to Facebook if we're getting very granular here with the tips, because hashtags do not perform on Facebook like they do on Instagram. You can't search with hashtags on Facebook. That's just not a thing. So it kind of just clunks up your content and makes it look silly. So we don't want that.
I didn't even think about that. Because yeah, like I use Facebook Business Suite when I was posting my own, or on my Rachael Ann side, I was scheduling stuff, and yeah, and on Shooting the Shit, we do that, and we just put the hashtags in there, and they go to both, and they're just not necessary. Facebook, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Good advice. Good advice.
Yes.
So what about like LinkedIn? I would say majority of real estate photographers, most of our clients, realtors, are on Instagram or Facebook, but there are some architectural photographers that listen to our podcast as well. And I think majority of their clients are over on LinkedIn. Do you guys manage LinkedIn? Do you do anything with LinkedIn?
We have managed LinkedIn in the past. We don't have any clients that we currently manage LinkedIn for. LinkedIn is a great place to cross post those like thought leadership pieces of content, and also sharing about your experience leading the business. Like, what are you facing? What are you encountering? It's a great place to reshare other people's content and add your own 2 cents to whatever it is that they shared. People are very engaged on LinkedIn, and only a very, very small percentage of the people that are on LinkedIn are actually creating the content. I think it was like 4% of people on LinkedIn are content creators. They're people that are actively sharing content on a regular basis. Everyone else is consumers. So it is a really awesome platform if you are going to show up consistently and you're gonna double down on posting on LinkedIn. It could really benefit your business from that perspective, because it's like getting in before everyone else is already doing the same thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So random ADD thought. Can you give us your 2 cents on Threads? This new thing that to me is like really another thing. Do I can't just really
Seriously. Yeah. So what I've been seeing, I downloaded Threads, and I am not a Twitter gal. Like
I've been on Twitter once in my whole life. Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I posted some horrible, well, not horrible, just like stupid things as an immature teen on Twitter, like complaining. I don't know. And that was kind of the whole lifespan of my Twitter days. And so Threads is interesting because it is linked to Instagram, and we no longer have to do those like annoying Twitter style graphics. We can just post directly to Threads and then share it straight to Instagram, which is fabulous. There's no DM option on Threads, and there is on Twitter. And so it is a great way to like very transparently communicate with your audience and just people that are on the platform. I have been seeing some crazy things happen on there from like a collaboration and connection standpoint, because these are the early days. There are big names following like little names because of the content that they're sharing, and they're on the platform truly to connect, and they're just interested because it's so new. Just a lesson learned in business, I take away from Threads. This is like the Threads 1.0, right? They are building it while we are all on it and using it. And so if you are in the early days of your business and you're like, oh, I can't launch it yet because it's not 100% ready. Well, Instagram literally just launched a massive app that hundreds 100 million people downloaded it in like a span of 5 days, and they're still iterating. So this is just to show you, like, you don't need to have everything all ironed out before you press go. And what else? I think that you don't need to be as funny as you think you need to be. Like, you don't need to be that funny or witty to use it. And if those are your thoughts, share it. Like, if those are your limiting beliefs, share it, because I bet you there are a bunch of other people that are sitting on the sidelines on Threads, but not actively using Threads or posting on Threads because they feel the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of feel that way. I'm like, I don't know what am I supposed to write here?
Yeah.
I like sharing pictures with a little caption. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about, guys?
The memes and like GIFs work really well.
Okay.
I love seeing those. But don't
Really?
post your Instagram posts to Threads.
Okay. I really haven't taken a lot of time to explore Threads too much. I mean, I've gone through a little bit, but I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I've dabbled.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll see. You think it's going to stick around?
I think so. I think that while it is very similar to Twitter, right? And Elon Musk is apparently suing Mark. We're on a first name basis here.
Mark, good old Mark.
I think that there is enough differences that I don't know that anything will come of it, because there's no DM feature. There are some subtle differences that make it a different app, and they've elevated it, right? They have seen where the gaps are that Twitter does not provide, and they've integrated those into the Threads app.
Yeah. I think that would have to be difficult. I mean, every other app is exactly the same and they're all existing. It's going to be a hard thing to try and shut down, I'm sure.
So Instagram ripped off TikTok with Reels, and now Instagram just ripped off Twitter with Threads. Love you, Instagram. Thank you for bringing it all to one place.
Seriously.
So I do want to just try and dive into a couple things. You know, now that we always talk about little tidbits here and there, but we've got Kelci on here, who's just the go-to. So I really want to ask you a couple of things that people are always asking about, which is like, you know, are there any shortcuts, right? You know, can we do these bots? Can we, you know, do this kind of shady stuff? Or is it like most terrible things in life where you just have to work hard day in and day out and eventually it pays off? Are there any shortcuts? How can you help us?
Kelci is your shortcut.
Yeah.
Hire someone.
Yeah, the opportunity cost, right? Like, what is it going to cost you to outsource versus what would it cost you to do it yourself? I think, going back to our call, I think this is like how I positioned it, because you could be making probably more money if you went out and spent however long it's going to take you to create a month's worth of content, great content that's actually going to get you results. You could be making more money if you spent your 10 hours or however long it's going to take you going out in the field and doing what you do versus what you would pay me. Like, I guess in terms of shortcuts, do not ever pay for bots or like those people that are in your DMs saying like, we're gonna increase your followers to this many people. Like, don't do that, because that will upset your engagement metrics. That's going to completely turn your Instagram into just basically like a dead hole, because when you have that many followers, fake followers, Instagram only shows your content to a percentage of your followers during the first like 5 to 10 minutes that your content goes live. If your content performs well during that period of time, it's going to then send it out to even more people. So if more like 75% of your audience is just completely fake bot accounts that are not even real people, and your content is going out to them and they're not engaging, obviously, because there's nobody on the other side of the screen, your content is never even going to get seen by the people who you want to see it. So don't take the shortcut in that aspect. I think there are shortcuts in terms of if you're willing to double down and go hard in the paint on how often you're posting. I've seen people be very successful by posting 2 times a day with a video and reels on Instagram are going to get you in front of new people, because when you're scrolling through reels, you're seeing content that is shared by people who you don't follow. So it's going to be the same for your content that you're sharing. Your content is going to be shared by new eyeballs that have shown interest in content that is similar to yours, but is not yours specifically. So if you do like one viral, get me in front of new eyeballs sort of post, which would be your reel, and then one value driven post, which would be like a carousel or a photo, or just like a standalone graphic on your feed daily, let's say, that can definitely expedite your growth, because the static graphic, photo, carousel post is going to be the nurturer of your audience, of the current people that you're serving. And so you're constantly kind of playing this like teeter-totter game where one of your posts is going out and reaching the masses, and one of your posts is nurturing your current audience and serving them and giving them what they came for.
Yeah.
So twice a day.
Yeah, if you want to go
ham.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like, and we hear, I think if you're on YouTube, if you're on Instagram and you're trying to figure out how to grow, you hear this stuff. But, a lot of times you're like, well, that can't be real. Do I have to do twice a day? I guess if you really want to get it done, that's really what you got to do. All right?
Yeah. And I'm not saying that to say that you have to do that.
No,
absolutely.
totally.
That's if you
because
want,
yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to go fast and you want to get to your goal quickly, then that is a great option. But you can absolutely get there by posting once a day, by posting 3 times a week. We have clients that we manage that we're only posting 3 times a week, and they still see great results.
Cool. All right. Well, how about this? I got a question. So we do professional photography. Okay.
Yeah.
So and when you're on Instagram and you see ads, a lot of time the ads are created, whether they actually are or not, they're created in a way to look like you just shot them on your cell phone, to be more like organic, just a regular Joe kind of thing, right? And apparently that must work because you see a lot of it, right? So my question is, we're professionals and we get professional stuff. What should it be, a certain ratio of professional photos, like branded, like Rachel will have branded photos of herself, which look really great and high end, but then she also does other posts that are like behind the scenes. Are we really trying for like an even balance on these? What are any recommendations there as far as like snap a pic of yourself versus branding stuff you did a session and got,
That's a good question. I don't have like a specific ratio that I recommend people following per se, but I do think that if your feed looks like very, very put together and buttoned up, you may seem a little bit unapproachable. That depends though, if you're showing up on your Instagram stories and you're being authentically you and you're showing up like in your sweatpants on a Saturday or whatever, then that kind of can offset the very aesthetic grid that you might have if you're only sharing professional content. One way around this, and kind of to help break up the professional photos so that you're showing your genuine true self, is to, when you're creating reels for your feed, you can take a photo in the moment or even screenshot from the video that you're creating or recording or whatever, and you can create like a title page or a cover graphic from the reel itself. I recommend like posing at least for the cover, because it will just look better. And then editing that photo, if you have Lightroom or if you have something that will
Canva.
edit photos, anything like that, to either add a title to it so people know what they're getting into if they click into that video, and also so that the way that you edit the photo for like lighting, so that it looks similar to the rest of the photos on your feed.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One thing too I want to bring up, because this was something that Kelci brought to my attention on our last meeting. So I have 5 Instagram accounts. So, and sometimes, like, one of them is my Airbnb. I'm not really active there. One's for the Rachael Ann, which is all things Rachael, part of like my course launch when I get that launched, hopefully in the fall. And then another one is the master plan. And then I got focused. So is that 4? Maybe it's only
4.
So anyways.
Well, and the podcast.
Oh, and the
Finish it.
podcast. Yeah. So there's 5. So anyways, I cross promote between the 2 of them a lot. And then master plan, we've been really busy with master plan, and we've been making all this content and all these reels. And I've been collaborating with Focused and master plan, and the cover photos that I've been doing for the reels, I just kind of scroll through the reel and find something that works, and then like I make all my reels in CapCut. So I'll add a title to the first part of the video that's in yellow, so, and I'll usually do my thumbnail within that first 5 seconds of whatever the video is. And it's just started to like muck up my newsfeed. Like, it started to get a little confusing. And Kelci brought this to my attention. She's like, hey, your newsfeed is getting a little bit messy. Like, I don't know if you use those words, but it meant like it's getting a little confusing. It's not really clear on what you do. So if you can go through and clean up your newsfeed and just create little thumbnails for your reels, that would make a big difference in cleaning it up. And since that conversation, I'm very careful about what I'm posting on Focused Media Collective, that it really does relate to my business, because I didn't realize, like, by me posting, we're filming out in Nashville with a film crew, like, yeah, it's cool, but my audience is like, what does this have to do with real estate photography? What is she doing? Is she selling a new product? It's confusing to my audience. So it was really helpful that you pointed that out and kind of like brought me back to like focus on Focused. It's important to kind of stay in your lane, and there are times when we can cross promote things, but you had a really good point. You're like, add that kind of stuff, the behind the scenes, to your story, and kind of explain what you're doing, and we're trying to promote master plan. We're trying to promote the podcast. We're trying to, so I can reach a lot of people through my account because I have the most followers on Focused versus all the other ones, which, it's great, but you got to make sure you're talking to your audience and it's relevant to what your business is. So that was really good advice you gave me.
Oh, well, that's what I'm here for. And there are ways that you can thoughtfully promote that to Focused, which is awesome, because there is such a through line with all of the things that you're doing. And so just making sure that like the angle in which you're talking about whatever it is that you're doing is in line with Focused, versus like maybe changing it up a little bit when you're posting it on the master plan or on the podcast page. Like, you can talk probably about the same thing on all the different platforms, but you just need to tailor the messaging.
Exactly. And that's hard to do when you're collaborating on a post, because
Yeah.
they just go exactly the same to both accounts. So
Pro tip, you can edit the so this is what Rachel's talking about. You can edit the cover image after you have already posted the reel. So you can go back and update. So if you were to like make the graphic in Canva or make a photo, whatever, in Canva, and then download and upload to your Instagram reel that you've already posted.
If I collaborate on a post between Focused Media Collective and Shooting the Shit, and I change, like, I'm the owner, I'm the one who originally made the post on Focused Media Collective, and then I go in and change the thumbnail on Focused Media Collective, is that only going to change that thumbnail on Focused or on both?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is linked together. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're looking at your feed right now and panicking and going, there's no clear message, you can change the thumbnails. Don't worry.
Yes. Yes. Control Z.
Awesome.
But that's the one thing I've really liked about having you involved, Kelci, is like my news feed always looks so polished and professional. You know, it's a variety of houses, lifestyle photos of me and the team, and then little graphics with motivational sayings or little tips and stuff that are all in my branding colors. So, and I always think of my news feed as my portfolio. You know, if someone's going to go check me out, the first thing they're going to do is go read my bio and then scroll through my news feed. You know, and then if they want to dig deeper, they'll look into reels, they'll look at stories, they'll look at highlights, you know, and that's where you see the real everyday kind of who we are and what we do. So you've been great with keeping that consistent and calling me out when I got a little wild with my reels. I was having fun.
It's easy to do. Yeah, exactly.
It
You're just
is.
having fun.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, most people are not having fun. So I'm glad to hear that. And that there's a strategy, there's a method to the madness, right? Like we have a strategy, we have a purpose for every post. And I think that if you want to be posting on social media, you should make sure that the content that you're sharing is not just for you because you're like, this is a great piece of content, I think it's fabulous, and the idea just came to me. Like, make sure that that piece of content is also beneficial to your audience and it's something that they would care to see and read about.
Do you think because with reels, you have the option to post it to your newsfeed or not? Do you think if I didn't have a cover photo that was really jiving with my style, would it be best just to keep it off your newsfeed and just post it to reels?
I have been testing this a little bit because I am curious as to if you don't post it on your feed, if it will get less traction and less visibility. I've seen both things happen. I've seen it where I've seen other people, I guess, not myself, seen other people say that they leave it on their like only the Reels tab on Instagram for like 2 weeks. And so they'll double post almost. They'll post one to their like Reels tab only, and then they'll post one to their feed and kind of like A/B test it to see which one performs better so that you can see. So that's just like to test with your own Instagram, right? Test your own marketing. But if for safety purposes of the aesthetic of your grid, if you want to like maintain the cohesiveness and the aesthetic, then sharing it only to your Reels tab versus sharing it on your feed is a great way to ensure that you're consistent and cohesive and your content is still being shared.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'd be interested to see or do that test myself and just see what the difference is. Yeah.
Another wrench to throw in here. So you hear a lot about, the right time to do your posts and the right days to do your post. Is that really a huge factor, or is it something you can kind of cultivate your audience to show up to the times you post? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is totally audience and personal dependent. You can go look at your insights on Instagram to see when your audience is online the most, or the majority of your audience is online rather. So that is on your insights tab and you can go and check that out. For me, my audience is literally online all day. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I just get to pick whenever I want to post. And so I think the most important thing is posting at the same time or around the same time every single day. And that way your audience knows when they can expect to see your content. And so they're excited to open the app and check for your latest content.
Okay, good point. Yeah, because I don't think I realized that it was specific to just me. I thought it was like more specific to Instagram, for example, that most people are on at these peak times, but it really is directly correlated to your audience. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it could be related with like the number of people that are on the Instagram app altogether, but you're posting to your audience for the most part. So I would recommend like looking into those metrics first and foremost.
Very logical.
Check out your analytics if you haven't done that. Yeah.
Cool. All right, cool. And so, all right, if we're last little thing here, if they're getting started Where do you recommend they start if they've literally done nothing or they've been totally inconsistent? What's the first path to begin on, and what should they do first?
Oh my goodness. It depends on what feels easy for you. If you have not done anything so far, you have to first start by creating the habit of posting. So if photos feel, number one, more comfortable because you're not having to video yourself and talk to the camera, then do photos. If graphics feel easier for you because you have a great graphic design skill set and you know Canva like the back of your hand, or you can navigate like graphic design software really well, then start posting valuable posts that are graphic centric. Video for me is easy because I've done it for a period of time now, and it's easy to cut the video. And I've just become a videoing machine, and I take videos of everything. And so I have such a backlog of video content that I can use, and it is as easy as using a B-roll video clip, which is just like a video of you doing something, not necessarily talking. This could just be like you sitting at your computer, editing photos, something of your everyday life, making a cup of coffee, working out, whatever. And you just have to put text on the video. Like you don't have to do anything special or anything crazy. Pair it with a trending audio sound and like upload a short and straight to the point caption, because most people are not reading the entire caption for reels, but they're reading captions on static content. So that's what I would recommend. Like pick something that feels easiest to you. Reels may not be easy because it is a little bit of a learning curve, but once you have done like 5 to 10 reels, you'll get the hang of it and it will feel easy. That would be the first step to get started. Pick what feels easy. Start doing it consistently. Create 2 weeks of content. Batch it out, sit down one day and come up with the pain points of your ideal client, come up with what they're struggling with, what they actually want, and create content that solves those problems, and create content that shows that with your service, with your offer, that they will be able to achieve their desired result that they're wanting, that you know that they want because they've told you before probably, by using what it is that you have to offer. So create content around that. And I'm sure that if you just sit down and like brain dump out a bunch of ideas of the pain points and then their desires, you're going to come up with so much stuff to talk about. And so you'll have more than 2 weeks of content right there.
Great advice. I think I love the strategy behind like hearing anything about like, okay, we got to hit on their pain points. We have to figure out what they're struggling with. We need to know our target market like the back of our hand, right? To understand how to speak to them, how to talk to them, which I've learned over the last few years. And it's like so valuable. And then showing your testimonials and like happy clients, like even posting, you know, a lot of our clients will post a reel on their social media and they'll tag you, right? And then it'll show up on your story and it's like, okay, reshare that, you know, showing like new listing, here's our work. Like our clients are posting this. They're proud of our work. That's showing that you are out there doing the work too, right? So that kind of that social proof. Yeah.
Well, I think that was a ton of cool advice and helpful information there for me even. So I'm sure it'll apply to other people out there. Well, I'm curious to hear now a little about what it is you're doing in addition to this now. What has changed since you started with Rachael? Tell us what you're doing.
So when I first met Rachael, I was operating under Douglas Marketing, which is my maiden last name. And there was nothing really tying me to that. I just had to come up with a name because I was quitting my job and I was like, what am I going to call my business? Douglas Marketing. That's clever enough. So I went with that. I started my business in 2018. So I just went with that. And it was 2020. the winter of 2020 where I sat down with a friend at a coffee shop and we were like chatting about how my business was going. We had worked together in my corporate job, and we like came up with the name Sherose. And it was a crazy just conversation and like riffing off of each other to develop the name, because she noticed that she was like, I feel like your energy is so low and this is not you. This is not who you are. I feel like you are really drained. And it was because of the clients that I was working with at that point in time in my business. I was not lit up by them. I was not like excited. They weren't really like equally as excited to work with me either. I don't think. They just thought it was like, they knew it was something that they had to do, but they didn't really care. They didn't really care. And so even though I was getting them results, they weren't like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Like, I'm so excited to see this. They didn't give me anything to work with. So anyways, we rebranded to Sherose when I decided, like I said at the beginning of this episode, to really double down on what it was that I was doing. I was scared to kind of rip off that Band-Aid and let go of my old business because it was like, my baby. That was the first thing that I did. But there was such greater purpose and meaning in Sherose, which is a business that I have built to really empower female entrepreneurs and help them build their business from wherever they're starting out at. I recently graduated with my master's degree in business, and I've been doing marketing for over 7 years now, which is crazy. I'm feeling like I don't feel old, but I am getting old, I guess. Sad.
Stop it.
So anyways,
she's like 23, guys.
I know.
No, but she looks 23.
30.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you're not even 30. Okay, Kelci. I didn't know you
Order-
were that young. Jeez Louise.
Lumber prices are going up. Order your coffin now.
Oh my gosh. So, anyways, long story short, well, it's not short now, but to bring this full circle, I created Sherose to really help female entrepreneurs grow their business and live out their dream life. Like whatever is on their Pinterest board, I want them to achieve it. So often I feel like women downplay what they really want. They want to make $100,000, but they feel guilty about saying that. They want to make $1 million, but they don't think that is ever even possible or an option for them, which it is. And so my mission behind what I'm doing is to be a resource and a tool for them to do whatever the hell they want in their business. I want them to believe in themselves. I want to help them reverse engineer the action plan, whether that is with their marketing, whether that is with creating more profit margin within their offers. I want to truly just uplift them and show them what is possible for their life if they just take some strategic actions and actually do the thing that they need to do. All that to say, we are kind of evolving from our marketing agency, which is what we've been doing since I started my business. I'm leaning heavily into really cultivating communities. So when I said community host, I recently launched a female networking community here in Boise, Idaho called the Boise Breakfast Club. And we meet on a monthly basis and we network with each other. And I also have a educational speaker come in every single month where I'm not only granting a platform for other women to share about their businesses, but I'm also giving the women in the room an opportunity to learn from successful women in business to use whatever it is that they're teaching and go and execute on it in their life or their business. It has been such a fulfilling thing for me to do. At the end of last year, I was like, if I do one thing next year, I need to launch this thing because it's been on my heart for years since I started Sherose. So I was like, I need to do this thing. And even if I feel uncomfortable and even if nobody shows up, like at least I can say that I did it. So that has been one thing that we started doing this year. I am also launching, or well, I have launched a mastermind community. So for anybody that doesn't know what a mastermind is, it is a group of people that come together to ideate, to like rub shoulders and network, to brainstorm ideas, to problem solve, really like getting in the weeds of each other's businesses. So as much as you want to come and ask all these other successful people like what you should do for your business, you are also coming to the table and acting out of service for all of these other people that are there. It is incredible. I've had the opportunity to be a part of a couple different masterminds, and they have been transformational for my business and allowed me to grow, allowed me to like see bigger, greater things for my potential and things that like I didn't even think or imagine were possible. So that is what we are doing this fall. We're launching this with a retreat. And so really just like fostering community and holding space for women to live out their Pinterest dream board life.
My goodness, girlfriend. Love it. How do you have the time? You have a team though that helps you with
Outstanding.
the management stuff. Yeah.
Yes. If it were not for a team, I don't know how I wouldn't. Like even now, I mean, it is a lot. I'm doing so many different things. I was just thinking about that today. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. Well,
Good
it's
on
amazing
you.
what you're doing. Yeah.
I love that. I love what you said too about that fear. You like, you
Yeah.
want in your heart, you love the idea and you want to do it, but there's still that fear of what if nobody shows up? And that's where the courage comes in, right? Just, I'm going to do it anyway. And maybe they show up, maybe they don't. That's amazing. And I'm guessing they're showing up is what it sounds like.
They are showing up. It blows my mind every single month. We've sold out every single month since we launched it in January.
That's
50.
So
we've been selling. So I say that there's 50 tickets available, which there are 50 tickets available, but then I post like, oh, we're sold out. And then like a bunch of people will sneak in at the end. And I'm like, hey, I said we're sold out. Stop. But I mean, yeah, so we've gotten like 56 people.
You need a bigger venue.
I do. People, that's like
So
one
cool.
people's biggest complaint is that it's a tight space. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. I don't know where else to go.
Yeah. I'm proud of you. So do you have any plans to expand this breakfast club idea to different states or to different areas?
Yes. Next year, I want to launch in 3 different locations. One of them being Washington, because that's where I'm from.
Yes.
And so I am in chat with a gal that wants to do it in like the Snohomish area of Washington. And so I'm excited about that. I don't know where else we're going to land next year. Yeah, we will be expanding, and I'm really, really excited for that.
That's so awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, I happen to live in Snohomish, Washington, so this could be perfect.
Yes.
I would love to be there. That'd be awesome.
Tell us about the new branch, Heroes in New Hampshire. How's that?
Heroes.
Because I feel like I'm missing out here.
Can you start the boy version of this, please?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Cool.
So where can people find you? You also have a podcast. Where are you
I
talking?
do have a podcast.
This is your elevator pitch, please. Ready, go.
My elevator pitch. Okay, so I am on Instagram at We Are Sherose, like she rose, the flower. And I have a podcast. It's going to be rebranded, I'm sure, by the time this episode goes live. So it's called Confessions of a CEO.
Nice.
And we are going to talk about the shit that stinks in business over there. We're going to get real. It's going to be kind of a come with me style podcast where you're going to hear about my experience as I am continuing to grow my business and the things that I'm experiencing as I'm facing them versus like in past tense and like giving you the knowledge so you're able to kind of feel with me right there, then and there. We have some amazing guests that I have lined up. So I'm really, really excited for the relaunch of my podcast, which will be in August. I think that's it.
No, that's all. That's it. Well, I've loved your podcast. There's a lot of marketing advice in there too and stuff on social media. So if you guys are looking for any more knowledge from Kelci, head over to her podcast. It's fantastic. And
Thank you.
Are you going to have all your old episodes on there when you rebrand?
Yeah.
You're going to keep all those on?
Yeah, I'm basically just going to change out the cover photo and then keep going like season 2, essentially.
Cool. Change your intro.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Are you going to have an intro
Me? Yes.
on your new one?
Yeah.
I've heard
Have not.
conflicting things about intros.
Yeah. So I've been listening to Jasmine Star.
Mhm.
I love Jasmine Star.
Yeah.
And she just dives right in every time.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard that it's kind of, it's great on maybe your first or second podcast, but then like who wants to sit and listen to a minute of you saying the same thing every time introducing your show? And I'm like, that's
Yeah,
kind
but
of a good
then-
point because I fast forward through all of them.
Yeah.
But
But
for the
then
new
what about
listeners,
people? Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I know. We're
So,
keeping ours. We haven't dropped
We just
ours
got to
yet.
make it short and snappy.
Yes, under 30 seconds. I just listened to a podcast today, which I love her podcast. Her intro is 1.5 minutes long. It's
Yeah.
so
No.
long. I'm like,
That's too much.
fast forward, fast forward,
Yeah.
fast
That's-
forward.
The
Oh,
same
that's a
thing
lot of
watching
button
a
clicks.
watching the series. I mean, there's a reason now on Netflix where they have like skip intro because
Yeah.
like I love the Game of Thrones intro the first time I saw it, but then I was like, holy cow, can we get past this? We don't need
Yeah.
this. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Neal, I
Totally.
think we need like a jingle or a song next where you could sing to us because you remember like watching Full House and you knew all the words
my
of the
gosh.
intro songs? Like I think
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
getting it right now.
The facts
I
of
would
life.
like
The
Fresh
facts
Prince
of life.
Bel-Air.
Yeah.
I'm aging myself.
Oh, a
Kelsey's
jingle. I
like,
like that. I like
What
the
are these
jingle.
Oh my gosh. Full House was my jam.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Full House. I freaking love
Grab
the
your
Olsen
camera and
twins
come
and
along.
Jesse.
Yep. Yeah.
Uncle
Oh
Jesse.
gosh.
Uncle Jesse. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uncle Jesse. Oh my
Awesome.
gosh. Outstanding.
All
Cool.
right.
Well,
thank you, Kelci, for coming
what
on.
a
This is
pleasure.
So
Yeah.
great. So much info.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been a fun conversation, and I'm excited to share this with my audience when it goes live.
Yeah, let's collab, babe.
Sounds good. I
Yeah.
love it. I
Mhm.
love it. Cool. Thanks so much, Kelci. Appreciate you having you on, and we'll see you all on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.